Oh, well, it's just another example of me getting up later than I wanted to. Um, I guess I'll try to do it earlier. I don't know. It's so weird because I remember when I initially was like, all right, I'll stream at 10 a.m. That was always because by that time I would usually be up. Um, like even if I would stay up until 3 in the morning, I would still be able to get up at 10. And of course, if this was like a job or something, I would go to sleep way earlier just to make sure that I could meet my deadline. Hopefully, this won't be like Saturday where there was only one person in the chat. That was really goofy. I don't know. I always feel kind of jaded with the way these things are supposed to go. Well, just because when you do a stream, you want people to attend, and then like that's the reason you give them a time on when to show up, and they don't anyway. This guy was asking me if you could do a show on a wrestler, which one would it be? I said probably because I've said before my three favorite wrestlers are in order: Benoit, Guerrero, and Bret Hart. So I probably would do one. Like I think the problem with doing on Benoit is that immediately all people would do is talk about the ending. Like just that would be the only thing they would obsess over. But a lot of his stuff in the '90s was pretty interesting. Like cataloging him learning moves in Japan, um, and again his just general career of like being a person with WWE for like what was that the last 8 years, 7 years. I would have really liked to seen some of the adaptation of that. Um, I think with Guerrero it would be a little bit more safe, but I don't know if he has the same amount of like things I would just be like interested in chronicling. Because with Brett you have like a pretty interesting career, even just like ignoring the Montreal screw job, you have him losing his brother, then still trying to wrestle after that. He's a real trooper. So I'd definitely be interested in making something that focused around any of those three. Um, and then besides those three, probably Stone Cold would be the next candidate. Yeah, those are my top four favorites. Um, I remember one time when I was like toying with the idea of doing a biography on these different people. I was like, oh, we can have it be animation when they're just talking to each other, and then for when they wrestle, you can have like you can get some figure like some action figures and do stop motion. I used to do those when I was younger, just where you like take pictures of something over and over to make it move. I used to love doing those. I remember when I was a kid, one of the things I wanted to make like really badly and never could because I couldn't afford it was like a Transformers stop motion show where it was like, you would see them transform with the like by themselves, like Decepticons, all the rest of that. Oh, that's probably something I could do now as far as like, if I go out and get five of this and five of that, I could probably make that. But the issue now is that I don't really have a place to put that stuff, and I'd have to make sets. And I would scream if me trying to make this stuff gets stifled because someone around here decides to mess with my things, which they've done before. So that's the biggest reason I'm not looking to try and make it because I'm just tired of like wanting to do something and then not being able to because another person is like actively screwing it up, even if they're not doing it on purpose. Just the fact that they're like messing with things is the issue. So it's something I probably would have I maybe someday if I ever live by myself, you know, I'll reconsider it. But I can't make it because I can't make anything with stop motion anymore. Usually because I lack the stuff now, um, and also because I really don't want to have a bunch of this stuff and risk the chances that one of them messes around with it or is like going, because that's what they do, and I really hate that. I said before that when you live with other people, a lot of times they stifle your creativity. Like God knows how many days there have been where I wanted to be home alone so I could actually record my lines for whether it be my show or some other project I was doing. I hate that you can't get the just basic security of like, all right, well, you're here, nobody can hear you, you can be as loud as you want. I despise that. The fact that you don't get that more than maybe once or twice a month really does drive me nuts. Um, and it's also when you consider that it's an individual that's been working from home for over a year. It's really annoying because I hate having to use my inside voice every single time I stream. Because it's not even just on Monday through Friday; they do it on Saturday and Sunday as well. So that's one of the biggest problems I just think creativity in general, like a lot of times it does get screwed over because of stuff out of your control. Um, that's why I was saying, like, with the show, I was thinking for a while, maybe I don't write this character because then that means I have to get another voice actor. But I'm just gonna put it to you bluntly. I can't I don't want to make something where I feel as if I have to stifle what I want or be opposed to what I want because somebody else will read a piece of paper. Like that's always going to be the thing that disturbs me. You do so much work for this stuff where you're drawing it, you're writing it, you're trying to edit it, and it's like all of it just gets killed because somebody won't read something. Someone who signed up for something won't read something. That's what stops you from making this. Which is why I said for every other thing I do, unless it's like someone I know in real life that I know isn't a flaky piece of garbage, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna voice everybody because I'm just tired of like the same cycle. I don't like, and this goes back to my thing of how a lot of times people online don't understand what real confidence is. Real confidence is being able to look at a circumstance and say, I deserve better than that. Just to relate this back to a chick thing, I stopped speaking to them because I got tired of being led on. I got tired of getting the same result of, I'm not interested in you despite having spoken to you for weeks or months. I just thought I deserved to be treated better than that. That's why I walked away from their ridiculousness. And that's why with a lot of the voice actor stuff, a decision to just say, all right, almost none of you will ever be given any opportunity with things I do again, is me saying I deserve better than to have my dreams and wants killed because somebody else won't read a piece of paper. That's just the way I look at it. That you can't, if in being someone who is creative, allow people who have no vision, um, no ability to stick to something, and just are generally a thorn in your side to triumph in that manner. It's really insane. But like I said, I get more fatigue from them than actually making the stuff, and that's what disturbs me the most. Because if you're doing an action show, people are throwing punches and you got to draw somebody dodging it, and that should be way more difficult or frustrating than the circumstance with these voice actors, because that's actually entailing you do a bunch of work, and like just poses in general can sometimes be difficult depending on what they're like. I know for a long time I used to have a hard time drawing like bald fists, like that little part right there. It got so bad. I swear I would have to take a picture of a bald fist and then like draw the part in there just as practice when I eventually did it with hands. It was tough. So I'm not, I don't sit here and try to pretend I'm this amazing artist that never has any type of issues with things. I know a lot of times when I do a group picture, that usually is a killer, especially if it's like realistic looking people. Because, and I always have to explain this to other individuals. When you're doing a group image and you're trying to be accurate with in terms of scaling, you have to usually what I like to do is just like draw the faces at first, and then kind of put one on top of the other, one a little bit higher, depending on who's taller, who isn't, and just try to make it to where everyone is kind of in sync. Like this could be believed as all being in the same area. So that's always the biggest issue I've had with just with art. But that's why I said it's so sad. Like I would love for the actual project itself, like making it to be the worst part of this stuff, but it's not. It's the VAs. They've always been the biggest hindrance to me. Like I remember when I did this all the way back when I started episode 2 and 3. It's like there was a 2 month gap, not because 3 had this elaborate story with all these drawings I had no, because one of the voice actors quit and wouldn't tell me they were quitting. And I just sat there patiently waiting for them. And I just eventually saw, all right, this is going nowhere. I got to get rid of this person. Like as early as the 3rd episode of that show, they were doing flaky garbage like that. And that's why even as I sit here and write, season 4, and like I said, oh, it's taken longer than I expected. Part of me doesn't even really care anymore. It's like, what? I'm going to go and write this so that I can go and seek more of these people out and they can quit again. Like I said, whenever you start feeling like you're getting the same result with things over and over, you do get a natural fatigue from these types of things. And like I said, when I actually get to make one of those, it feels good. It feels rewarding, but the highs are very, very rare, and the lows are very often. So that's the biggest problem with this stuff. The highs are very low. The highs are very rare, and the lows are very often. You get a low like every day, and a high like every 3 or 4 months or something. It's really sad. I remember one time when I went to this. It was like a college thing at one of the schools I went to, and they were talking about. I'm not going to say what school it was, but it was a school I really like wanted to get into, university, and I kind of just gradually accepted I would never get in there. And look, I say stuff like that because when I'm looking at a school that has a 9% acceptance rate, 6%, it's like who the like that's why I believe stuff like that, because it's just damn near nobody gets in. So that will lead me to conclude the same would be my fate. But I remember I like said something to the guy that was in charge of it, and like I like smiled as I said it, like, oh, I have no chance of getting in here. And he like pointed out how cynical that was, and I shouldn't, and how I smiled even though I was supposedly negative. It's like, yeah, I'm smiling because I've already had my days of being depressed over this stuff. Like I don't sit here and just keep getting sad over the same thing. Because even a lot of the chick stuff, it's like me laughing at how stupid they are. Like I don't really sit on stream going, I wish these women would speak to me. I don't. It is what it is. So generally with me, whenever I get like the lowest point of just despair over something, and then like maybe after a couple of months or however long, I mentioned again, I'm not depressed anymore. It's just kind of like this was stupid. Yeah, it happened. Now that comment was so dumb. You're melancholic, and then they can't even spell the word right. I just love the the therapist on this website. They're always trying to figure out what your personality is. I wish one of them would explain, because they do like to claim I'm so negative and all. It's like, why the hell is it me that's always smiling and laughing and always happy on damn near every stream, but then you guys are the ones that are sitting over here depressed and angry about what I have to say? Like, how does that work? I just always thought that was fun, like ironic. I'm the negative, often depressed person who's smiling and laughing every stream, but the people that are sitting and like hiding their faces and getting upset over a video that has nothing to do with them, they're not negative. That reminds me of? I told this story before when I was in this one Discord server, and these guys, like it was some guys and I guess some chick as well. They were upset because I mentioned like this is like 5 years ago, a long time ago. Um, before I think I only had maybe like one or two romance videos back then. Like it was right at the genesis of that stuff. But it was really funny because one of these what do you call it? One of them said something to the effect of like, "Oh, you're selfish because you don't talk to women anymore." And I like that comment always stuck with me because, and I lampooned it a lot in different stuff I've written. Sometimes some of it hasn't been released, but like when I was doing the video on, what if I was a parent, I was talking about how a lot of times people only become parents because they don't wear protection. The woman's on birth control pills, whatever different thing they don't bother to use, and that causes for them to have these kids that they clearly did not want because they didn't plan it out and it was always by accident. And I don't understand how I can be called selfish for not talking to a group of people who don't even like me, but a woman who engages in intercourse with a man in an unprotected way because she finds more pleasure from doing it in that manner and then accidentally creates a child is not selfish or more selfish. I just don't understand. It's like you'll try to crucify me for something that is so inconsequential, but then when someone brings a life into this world, you don't have any of that same energy to show toward these people that are doing this screwed up stuff. Like I said, we live in the twilight zone when it comes to romantic relationships and just people's sense of morality. It's really sad. Oh man. Yeah, it's raining outside. That has me a little bit worried about the connection. Every time it rains, I'm always bracing for impact. Like, well, this stream's probably gonna crash in like 8 minutes. It's weird too, because they told us that it was gonna rain yesterday and it didn't. Oh, I forgot to mention this crazy broad. So, um, on I think it was either Thursday or Wednesday. I'm gonna say it was probably Thursday. Um, it was like in the latter part of this week, so I know it wasn't Monday or Tuesday, but it was at least Wednesday or Thursday. Met this woman, and we had a good dialogue. Just talking to each other, whatever, on Discord, and all of a sudden, she claims she's remember I've only known this person for less than 24 hours. She doesn't want to speak anymore by having like as far as having a call because she's depressed and she's da, 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 da. And it's kind of I think I told you I mentioned before like I don't understand why people can't talk to you if they're not in a good mood. And like, sometimes I'll say, okay, if it's one day, whatever. But if it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days back to back of this person saying, I will not have a call with you because I'm not feeling well or I'm not, it's like, does this ever end? So, anyways, I just kind of accepted it that this is just a thing this person is going to do. So I go into the same server where I first encountered them and I'm talking to this other person and then this insane broad joins the VC and she's like, I see that you're talking to this person and instead of responding to me. Now let me explain what happened. This is about 3 or 4 in the morning. Um, and this person insane woman was sending me private messages like 7 or 8 of them. And I wasn't responding primarily because I was really tired and I was just sitting here watching this person play this game. Um, but because I chose not to respond to some messages that I literally just received in the last like 8 minutes, this person comes in here and like charges me with ignoring them and then they run out, and it was really weird. So I'm gonna talk to them for maybe like one more week, and then that's gonna be the end of it because I'm not about to sit here and talk to no crazy bras. Like, why does it matter? What business is it of yours that I talk to someone else? Like, dingbat, you're the one that didn't want to speak. I told you that's why I said that like chicks get away with everything because I know damn well if I came online and got mad at some woman because she was speaking to some other man, like I would be seen as possessive. Let's put it that way. I just thought that was so weird. Like I'm just in this VC, just watching this person play a game. I'm getting some private messages from some broad that already said she didn't want to talk to me by having a call, and then she's gonna come here. I see you're talking to this person. It's like, can you go? Just leave. It was weird. So I said something is wrong with shit. I wish I could have recorded, but I didn't see that coming. Like that's the problem. Like I said, I'm so distrustful of chicks. I would if I had one of those like really big cameras with like hours long rolls of footage, I would record every interaction I have with them because a lot of insane stuff happens when you talk to these people. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this on Saturday, but I did this video back in October about this chick that had me in a private Discord call and was talking in a like sexual manner. Same thing happened again on Friday morning. I guess the only difference is this one wasn't like as rude. I don't know what it is with chicks. It's like when they're supposedly communicating that they're interested in someone, they still I don't get it. I don't understand why they call people out of their name and call them dummy and all this other rude stuff. Like I'm serious. That's like a new pattern I've started noticing. That chicks that say all this sexual garbage will insult you while they're talking to you. Except at least with this one, she relented when I said, "Hey, can you stop doing that?" It's like, damn, it's just annoying. Because like I said, if you call them a B word or some other slur or term with whatever that people know is offensive, you'd be the villain. But they get to insult you, and I guess it's okay because of their gender. I don't know. Megumi says, "Hey, glad I was able to make it to the stream. Hope you're doing good. I was so disappointed you didn't show up on Saturday." I got in my little tower and I shouted, "Wherefore art thou, Megumi?" I couldn't believe you just vanished on me like that. By the way, I've got an edited. It's kind of dealing with romance a little bit, like the "What If I Was a Parent" video that should be coming out this week because I have most of the script written. I just have to record it and edit it. So, oh, be on the lookout for that. Everybody keeps saying chicks are so different from each other, but then you start to get like patterns that you can just infer are going to happen. It's like a running gag where they're like, "Oh yeah, all the chicks are so different from each other." I told you my favorite thing is still the bim. The I don't even think that was a chick, but like let's pretend that was that. Whatever that person is from the UK that can't leave me alone, they still come to my streams. It's like they would sit there and tell you that um, chicks are like not all interested in intercourse or sexual acts, and then it's like, if that's true, why do I have proof? Now I have proof of two different broads speaking to a man who they've literally known for less than a day in a sexual manner on that stupid website. Why has that happened twice in the last, was it 6 months? I already know what you were doing during the time I was streaming. You over there watching that new romance gurus video about how to get a woman in 8 seconds. He got 200,000 subscribers off that video in one day. The video has over 2 million views. You were observing his channel. You were checking out his his tips and tricks. Man, some of the advice people give on this site are so bad. Like, just not even romance content, but like I watch other people sometimes and they bring up the chick stuff. And one of my favorite comments was this guy, he's like 40 something. So he met his wife in real life. Um, and he's like, getting a date is so much easier than ever. If you want to talk to a woman or have a woman go on a date with you, all you have to do is just go on a dating app. It's like, yeah, completely ignore the fact that on those dating apps they have like 20 or 30 guys trying to talk to the same broad. But it's funny because he really makes it sound like you're the only person that messages this broad, like no competition. That's why I said that, like, when people want to blame men for this, like, all the different, all the 9 yards, whether you don't have a girlfriend or you don't have a wife, whatever, like all they can do is try to frame it in such a way that, oh, you don't have one because you didn't do this. It's never, hey, you tried this, it didn't work because she's talking to 20 other men. Oh, you asked her out, but she said she wasn't interested in you, and she says to every damn body else. Like, it's just sad that they just want to castigate you. They always can find an excuse for why this isn't that bad. And usually the people who are saying it's not that bad are the ones that don't even bother. Like, they're not even participating in this. This man's been married for years, so he's probably never been on any of those dating websites to try and meet somebody. We know that they weren't useful to him in getting his partner. So it's just sad that, like, every time an older person or a woman talks about this stuff, it's like they're speaking Chinese. Like, what are you saying? It's amazing because you notice how none of these guys giving that advice never address the plethora of options that chicks have. Yeah, because it really messes with their narrative of the just world fallacy. Like, oh, this happened to you because you deserve it. It's like, to acknowledge that there are plenty of options for chicks would be to acknowledge that there are external factors that are out of your control. It's kind of like when people say a person that doesn't have a job is just this lazy individual, and then that person applies to different jobs and they never hear anything back because they have like 10, 20 other people applying for the same position, or the job treats the person unfairly and gets rid of them after a few weeks. Just like those types of things they won't consider because it hurts their narrative of the just world fallacy. They want to believe that anytime something bad happens to you or undesirable, it's because of something you did. It helps them to sleep better at night, knowing that they can blame you for every damn thing. That's why I said the next romance video I do, not this one, but like any of the ones that are just about chicks just by themselves, I'm gonna have a picture of me just hanging on a cross. Because that's all this woman stuff is, just you being crucified for and dying for their sins. No, that's all that chick stuff is. It's really sad that people still don't recognize it. But we've been over this before. When things aren't affecting the right groups of people, they tend to get kind of discarded. Like, you don't really see anyone being upset over it if they're not on the receiving end of it. So that's a big factor in why this stuff is as hidden as it is. But what's really scary to me is how many people can just kind of call themselves disputing what you have to say while not actually addressing what you have to say. Like, you'll be really amazed by some of the comments people write and how they can be on a video where someone's making like points about something that bothers them and they won't even address a word of what they have to say. They'll just go like, oh, well, you're young, and eventually woman 300,000 will like you back if you just go out and approach enough, or eventually a magic woman will appear who's so different from all the other ones, or like they like, it's so weird how they do that. Because if I went on someone's video and they were talking about not wanting to eat at McDonald's anymore because every time they go there, there's something wrong with their food, they mess up the meal, there's a rat in the burger, whatever. Like, and I go on their video and I say, well, you're only this age, and eventually you'll go to a McDonald's that has food that is not contaminated and actually has employees that treat you with respect. It's like, no, this person has made a decision. What the hell does their age have to do with anything? You know, you're weird. Like, if you responded the way they do to anything else, you would be seen as like bizarre, because you would be known to be bringing up irrelevant stuff that doesn't have to do with anything that's being talked about. So they love doing that. Like, they'll go on a video. Someone is making like 800 different points about how screwed up chicks are. Well, have you ever considered that maybe you might have done something wrong? It's like, yeah, that's all I get told by people online. You did something wrong. It's never the woman did anything wrong. And you know what kills me? You'll have one of these broads talk to you for 5, 6, 7, 8 months, and then when you ask her out and she says no, you're told that you did something wrong. It's like, well, how the hell, if I was doing something wrong, did I get this bimbo to talk to me for most of the damn year? Like, how does that work? You see what I mean about how, like, there's no attempt at logic? If I did something wrong, why is this person still trying to speak to me? You know, like, why is it that they're trying to friend zone me and keep me around? You know, I don't get it. If you did something wrong, if you're so damn undesirable, if I can ever explain that. But like I said, when you want to blame somebody for this stuff, you just pretend they have no redeeming qualities and they're so terrible and all this other garbage. Conquer says a lot of my friends have gone through a lot of depression throughout their relationships and marriages. Like I said, man, that's another thing that never gets, like, I don't really specialize in that field as far as doing content on that stuff, but I was going to do a video. It was going to be called the deification of romantic relationships, and how, you know, people have, I do think it's like they spend so much time making content on how to get with a woman that they kind of like try to pretend that being with one is this happily ever after scenario, when we've discussed how chicks will do a bunch of disgusting things to the people that they call themselves being in a relationship with. They can cheat on you. If they're a gold digger, they try to take your money. And I mentioned the only one I ever dated tried that with me, and it was so anticlimactic to be told year after year how great it was to be with a woman, and then to meet one and be completely miserable while you're with them, to where you're like, all right, to hell with this, for real. Not only you aren't being successful when you get a date with the chick, but you're also constantly being told you're the problem even when you take their advice. Magumi in quotations, my advice didn't work. That can't be right. You must have done this. You must have done that. I told you, that's why out of all these people online, there's not a single one I would ever listen to the advice of, for two reasons. One, none of them ever show that their advice worked for them. Because I mentioned before, out of all the guys in my comment section talking about how brilliant they are with chicks, none of them ever showed proof they're with a woman. The second problem with following their advice is that if you do any of it and you still don't get the result you wanted, they don't have a character arc. Because if I told somebody that the only problem I have with them is I think they should go to the mall, right? And they go to the mall and they ask chicks out to get rejected, I'm gonna say, well, damn, this really is insane. But what they do is, oh, Megumi, you need to go exercise. So Megumi loses, like, I don't know, 30 pounds. He has muscles, and then he gets rejected. Megumi, you must have. They're not going to say, hey, this guy went out and exercised. He did this thing to impress these chicks. They're still not reciprocating. What the hell's wrong with them? No, if I'm them, I'm gonna say, you probably don't have a mouthpiece, and you probably wore the wrong shirt, and you probably approached her in a weird way. It's like, what the hell? You just, what is the purpose of trying to appeal to people who can never be reasoned with, who can never be satisfied with this issue at all? Like, if you're not with the woman, they're just going to keep nitpicking you over everything. So it's just like, what's the point? Like, there's really no incentive to follow their advice unless you have like the morbid curiosity of what it would be like to do every single thing to impress chicks and never have them do anything to impress you other than exist. I'm telling you, it was so funny. Like, I remember all those different guys in the videos, like, you need to do this to appeal to a woman, and a women want to feel this way. It's like, I like how no one ever thinks, how do I want to feel? You know, how does being rejected over and over for 7 years affect me? You know, the only time they ever want to go into like the psychology of a person is if they're trying to say that they are like a psychopath or some other, off-putting garbage. They never want to say, hey, this affected this person in a negative manner, and I think justifiably so. Oh, Megumi, I don't know. Let me see. Let me see if you actually saw that. Go to that stream. Where's that thing? My advice didn't work. You must have done something wrong. Question point that I missed the stream discussion. Very chill and insightful. Yeah, I'm still laughing at that guy on that video. You're melancholic. I'm like, if I do, let's say just hypothetical, I do 4 hours worth of streams, 2 streams, right, a week, and that's out of 100 hours. So you're with me for 4 hours out of 100. How the hell does that make you an expert on what mood I'm in throughout the whole week? And I still want somebody to answer this. Do you think chicks are never melancholic? You know, do you think they don't get depressed? We know that's BS because there's all kind of things chicks get depressed over. We've seen them get depressed over having kids, like they'll like relapse into just being sad or whatever. Um, I know that. I mean, if you want to give some specific examples, we could do that as well. But I'm just saying, like, it's really stupid to act. And this goes back to my thing of how I guess they want me to believe that chicks are always in a good mood and they're never sad about anything or despondent over stuff. It's like, come on, man. But that's the problem with these weird psychoanalysis. They try to pretend that you're not human because no person acts the same way all the time. They are allowed to be melancholic and depressed, but as a guy, you aren't for some reason. Yeah, you have to act. And like, think of how insane this is. If you're with some woman who you're, let's say, boyfriend and girlfriend with, and you go, let's say you live with this person, you see them for a couple hours a day, it's very difficult to always be in a good mood around somebody. Like I don't know how that could even be done. I found that clown real amusing during the stream. My favorite part is him spelling the word wrong and spamming the same comment on 2 different videos. But I'm just saying that like no one that I've ever actually been close with have I always seen in a good mood. Like my best friend, I'll call him. He might be laughing at something, and some other times might be sad over something. It happens. My brother, like I'll call him. He might be laughing at some video on YouTube, and then a few days later, he might be depressed over something. Not depressed, but like sad, for example. Like I don't know anyone in real life who I can say I just never see act differently from like one way. Like it's just so weird, that these people actually think this stuff. And also Megumi, let's not forget in his comment he said that while every individual is different, you'd be a prize catch for being so odd, even sensationally so. So he admits that everyone is different, but then somehow that I'm also odd, even though you just said that everyone is not the same. It's like, boy, you better pick a damn statement because that's a contradiction right there. Even sensationally so. I mean, I wish I was odd, but I'm sorry. Every time I go online, I see a bunch of guys getting rejected by chicks, and I know it's a lot more commonplace than these people want to believe. That was always what I thought was so weird. It's like the biggest issue I have with these people who say, "Oh, you should take responsibility for this," is that they're the same ones who, at every turn, will defend chicks when they do something wrong. But also, it's like when you look at a situation that affects loads of guys, where there's whole groups of men talk about how hard it is to get a date. It's like you don't think there's something wrong with chicks if they're rejecting all of these damn guys to where there's whole groups on this topic. People don't even know each other. They all have the same commonality of getting rejected by, like, no one No one sits back and says that's weird that chicks do that, that there's something wrong with them. One of my friends just got married to a hot girl, got a house, and he said he's jealous of his brother because he stays at home and gets home cooked meals, living in the simple life. He said marriage is not all that. He's tired, too much work. Like I said, people deify romantic relationships, but a lot of bad stuff can come out of them. Like, I would be ready to damn near throw a chair through a window if I got married to some woman and then she divorces me and gets half my stuff. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'd be really pissed off if I had a kid with some woman and she put me on child support, which is one of the reasons in my video I said that I would want to be married because from what I've seen, that usually only happens when the man and the woman aren't together anymore and she's trying to like get revenge on him. So that's what I've noticed. That's one of their tactics to get back at you. I really could just picture like a woman in like a basement just twirling her, like if she had like a fake mustache, like you broke up with me, so now you shall pay several $100s a month for your seat. Hey, I'm telling you, my favorite part is still the "you're boring" line that these guys have. Like, I remember there was some broad on Reddit that said, "I must be a lot of fun at parties." And I remember just thinking to myself, I'm like, "Oh, what what about any of you chicks is funny?" Like, I'm always perplexed, and we've had this discussion before about like how people actually sit here and they try to accuse men of being boring and bland and all the rest of this nasty, disparaging stuff, but then they act like these chicks are not. I swear on the grave of every single relative I've had, I have never met a single one of these chicks who when I laughed at something they said, it was an intentional joke they made. Um, if they said something that I laughed at, it was usually them swearing, or maybe they have some accent that makes a certain word sound funny. But as far as like, hey, this is a joke I'm telling, never. It's always them laughing at something I had to say because they're not funny. They're not interesting. And if they didn't have a triangle and a pair of melons, they wouldn't be talked to by any damn body. So let's just can that right there. It's just so sad that people actually try to trick you into thinking chicks are interesting. Like, no, not at all. Only time one of them is maybe a little bit interesting is if they have some tragic, anime-esque backstory. But even then, it's like that doesn't make you an interesting person. Like, I could have a character in a story whose dad died when he was 10. It's like, yeah, he still probably isn't gonna be that interesting. Just from that one detail alone. All this is really ridiculous. Do they really think every single chick is so great and amazing, funny, intelligent, etc.? How can they even think that? Remember, these are the same people that think chicks that they've never seen before out of my league. Conquer Mountain says, I guess my point is that we shouldn't stress about not able to get a GF. I found my passion, and that's what makes me happy and all I care about. Well, thanks for the donation. I'm simply saying that I don't agonize over it, but if people want to come on my stream and talk about how irritating this saga is, I don't really see an issue with it. The only time I push back is when you have people that are trying to impose their view on you, like, oh, you need to keep like, get out of here. That's up for me to decide. So that's what my issue has always been, that you have these guys that come out of nowhere and they try to like control you and tell you what to do. Because like I said, I don't tell other people what to do with their romantic lives. If they want to talk to chicks, couldn't care less. If they don't want to speak to them, couldn't care less. You know, it's not. It doesn't really weigh on me if other people want to or don't want to speak to them because it doesn't affect me. Hey Megumi, I don't know if you remember this, but a lot of those guys would leave comments about you're too ugly, or it's like, do you really think all these chicks are so amazingly beautiful? So this is what they do. They just pretend you're worse than every single chick on planet Earth, which really is the ultimate level of ridiculousness. Because when like I said before, when I was in high school, early college, middle school, guys would talk about chicks they thought weren't pretty all the time, and ones they thought were hot. Like I remember when I was in ninth grade, all the guys in my class liked this one chick in I think 10th or 11th grade. It's so funny how like back then I used to really like hearing something like that now would turn me off to being interested in a woman because it's like, look at all this damn competition. But I used to just actively admit, oh yeah, I like this person, and would go on a date with them and stuff like that. It's just so funny how I'm just so much more cynical about even bothering with that type of stuff to where I wouldn't even engage in a I guess a dialogue about that, something like that. Just that's what I think is interesting. Nowadays it's like, oh look, an attractive woman. Never seen that before. I'm trying to really think, are there any chicks I know personally that I would say are actually um like interesting? Like when they talk, I'm like, oh damn, I gotta hear what she has to say. Not really. I mean, um, yeah, I don't really think there are. And to be fair, I would say that most people I speak to, I don't really find that interesting. Like, oh, they're saying something that's like it's so compelling, and wow, I've never thought. But I don't. I'm not saying there's like a gender thing, like all the men are interesting, but I don't really see any of these chicks as being interesting. At least out of the ones that people are saying you're supposed to go and ask out for dates and stuff. It's like none of them say anything I find really compelling. That I find like witty. Just they're just kind of there. Like it's like me and my best friend got on the phone, we were over there laughing, having a good time. But with chicks, it's just like it's like a prerequisite. Like, oh, you want to go on a date with somebody, and this person has a vagina, so I guess I might as well speak to you. I'm not even trying to be mean. I don't think any of these chicks have been interesting. They're just there. Like they're just they're kind of like what's a good example? It's also kind of funny because people will say I dehumanize women. I'm like, man, they're the ones over there calling me a piece of garbage and all, or whatever. Anyways, um, I see them more as kind of being like an obstacle to something I want versus actually being compelling individuals that I'm so desperate to speak to. Like, it's not really, and it's more just the fact that they're not. I don't find them that appealing. And like I said, if they didn't have a triangle and a set of melons, nobody would even be talking to them anyway. You can get mad, you can get upset, but in your heart, you know it's all true. I'm not saying this to be mean or antagonistic, but I'm just saying that if we're going to sit here and play the personality game and try to say that I'm boring, it's like, well, that kind of goes both ways. Let me see what else is here. So great and amazing. I told you the funniest thing is that like, and I swear I'm not saying this to brag about myself, but if I wanted to, like, at least if I talk about myself, like, oh, I do stuff on YouTube and I've made some documentaries and I do this cartoon and da, da, da. It's like, so at least with that, it's something different, you know. I'm not even trying to make it sound like those are the most interesting things, but they're definitely stuff that makes me stand out. I mean, that's why I said people to make they talk about chicks like they're John McClane from Die Hard, like like they're just like every week they're in a lawsuit or some kind of action movie where stuff is exploding. It's like get out of here, you know? Get that fan fantasy nonsense and take it and throw it in the trash. That really is the worst part of like the romance stuff. Just having so much expectations and standards imposed upon men and then none imposed upon chicks. That's definitely been in my opinion, the worst part. Because, like I said, no matter how many of them say no, I do have standards. You know, they're definitely not as big and as wide ranging as the ones that a lot of chicks have, but they're there. And I don't really, like I said, I don't see an issue with having them because they act like if I drop mine, they'll drop theirs. Like, no, they're just going to keep on being ridiculous. I said before, I just think when you start putting up objective facts, it makes chicks seem even more insane. It's like why do you as a person hypothetical who makes six figures a year have to date a woman who can't who doesn't even have a pot to piss in? It's like stuff like that's weird to me. Why do you as a non overweight just like a regular average weight person have to date a woman that's 300 pounds? I don't understand. Like I don't get why we're supposed to be so accepting of a group of people who have primarily been antagonistic and unwanting of our reciprocation. It doesn't make sense to me. By the way, I actually ran into this. So I remember I mentioned before there was like a time where I was like really desperate and I was trying to like get people to commission me to draw stuff for them, and like no one did it. So I always like remember that, which is why I'm just so against that stuff. But anyways, there was a guy that I was trying to do a commission with. I think it was like 2-3 days ago, and he wanted me to like pay $50 for him to draw two characters, and then wanted to post it to his account, which I wasn't really that comfortable with. And then he was like, "Oh, well, I'll make two versions, one with this character, one with the other character." I'm like, "Wait, so you want me to pay $50 for so I can post an altered version of an image I'm not allowed to like?" I don't know. I just felt I canceled because I was like, I just think that if you're gonna make somebody pay that much for a damn drawing, they should be able to post it wherever they want, whatever. So I just said to hell with it. I'm just saying if somebody had me draw something for them and they wanted to keep it private, as long as I got paid, I wouldn't care. But whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, you want me to pay $50 for a drawing that I can't even post on my own damn account. I got post an altered cut in half version. It's like, so wait a second, I'm paying you $50 for two characters, but I can only post one? Huh? Man, you better believe I said the hell with that. I don't know. Is it just maybe it's me, but I've never even been into like commit because I always just draw something if I really want to do it. But it was just kind of a thing of, well, I'm an artist, so let me see if I can support another one. And I was like, oh, well, never mind. They want to be like the price was whatever, but just when you start throwing in these like terms and conditions, like yeah, I'm good. I truly believe if I draw a picture for someone and they pay me to do that, they should be able to do whatever they want with that thing. If they want to print it out and hang it up in their room, if they want to post it on Twitter and Pinterest and Insta garbage and all those other sites, that should be their prerogative. I mean, they paid for this. They own it, or they should own it anyway. The only thing I'd be a little upset over is if they like, depending on what it was, they didn't credit me. But even then, it's like I got paid anyway, so who cares? because I'm not even going to be looking in this, like investigating what that person's up to after it's over. So I'm going to pay you for 2 characters, but I can only post an image of 1. I was like, the hell with that. I just think that's really crazy. Like, you pay me to draw something, then I'm going to tell you what terms and conditions I have on like where you're what you're allowed to do with it. It's like, no, I'm good. No, thank you. No way, Jose. No, some of these artists are crazy. I don't know, man. Just very weird. But then again, vast majority of people online are weird, anyways. Yeah, like on different websites, I actually have people who ask me to draw stuff for them, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I'm not even joking. I've had random people like come on a page or some other thing I do, and they're like, "Can you draw this for me?" And I don't even respond because, like I said, when I was down and out, and I was willing to draw for people to get like and get paid. By the way, my prices were way smaller than what these other people are charging. I would like if it's 2, it's $20. If it's 3, it's 30, and then $50 for 2, whatever. So, anyways, um, I have them like still coming and asking for stuff. I'm like, I'm not drawing anything for you. The window of me being willing to draw stuff for people went out 3 years ago. After that, it was over. No, it's just really funny because what I always thought was really interesting is that like on some of these websites, they'll tell you like, oh, I would pay you if I could, but I'm so broke and blah, blah, blah. And like let's say you charge $10 for a drawing, right? They'll literally go and spend $50 on somebody else to, and this other person will have so many damn people they're taking commissions from. They'll have to announce that it's closed because they can't do all these damn people. So that's like Twilight Zone stuff to me. Like, oh yeah, so few people are willing to pay for it. Like, no, I don't believe that because I see them doing this with these other like same 3, 4, 5 guys. But like I said, now I don't allow like anytime somebody wants to ask me if they can like request something or what I laugh. I like that. I just giggle. I'm like, hey, what's the remember the Jameson laugh at Spider-Man 2? It's like, you want me to draw a picture for you for free, or just now you want me to do a commission for you after years of being ignored by you guys? That's me. Just laughing at them. Hey, it's too little, too late. No, that was over. By the way, I might end up having to make a video on these anti-everything people. I'm serious when I say that. Like, it's not for me being opposed to something that you know almost nothing about. I think is really stupid. Like, for example, we were talking about doing a people want TASM 3, right? And I said before, the TASM 3 script that was they were actually going to do before it got canceled sucked. But if they do a script that is different from that, I'll be open to it. And you have people like, he had his time. No Way Home was a perfect send off for him. Blah, 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 and I'm like, guys, what the hell was first of all, what was a perfect send off about? Like, when I envision a final movie for the main character of a film series, ideally it would be in a movie where they are the main character, like not a film where they show up in the damn third act. But Also, it's like they don't know what the story of TASM 3 is. They don't know who's going to be in it besides one person. They haven't seen no trailer. All they know is this one person's going to come back for a third movie in that series, and they're opposed to it just cause. I really hate that. Because it just seems as if, like, no matter what you do, there's always some individual, some person that's just against it, and they don't even know what it's about. So I'll probably end up having to do a video on, because another instance of that came up a few weeks ago with these other people. It's not superhero movie related, but it's on that same topic of like, oh, you want to do this with this one person? No. Like, shut up. I'm serious. Like, I just think it's so funny how I'll be called negative, but then I have people who shoot down movie pitches that like don't it again, like these don't even entail what the plot of the actual film is about. It's like, oh, we're gonna do a sequel of this movie and this one actor is confirmed to be coming back. No. Like what the hell? Like for example, they announced Beetlejuice 2, and I'm not gonna say his name. There's a reviewer on this website. It's like, I don't think this movie is going to work in the modern era. I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about this movie. You know, two people are coming back and who might direct it, and that's it. I'm just so tired of like every time someone wants to do something, they know almost nothing about it and they're just opposed to it. You know, it's like it's weird. And I think really stupid too. Like, damn, can you guys just stop acting like this and actually, I don't know, you know, believe in something for once? Yeah, people online are weird, anyways. I agree, but I'm just saying that for whatever reason, like I didn't even notice the anti everything crowd until about maybe last year. Like they're just always against something. Like and that's why I said they're against stuff that they don't even know what they're opposed to. They'll hear like a little nugget of information about it, and then they'll just wholly dismiss it. Like, oh, this can't work. This can't be done. Like, haven't seen any trailers. Haven't read any scripts. You know, very scant information about something's enough for them to just say no. Don't even bother. And that really does annoy me because I just don't understand why you'd be opposed to something that you know almost nothing about. No, if I was alone, I could do the whole laugh, but I can't. It's either that or confirmation bias as well. I don't know. I don't, for whatever reason, I didn't notice these people, and maybe that's because I didn't really like read comment sections. I guess I'll put it to you like this. Maybe the reason I didn't notice them before is that like before Spider-Man 4 was canceled, because I remember the internet in 2008, 2009, and early like the little start of 2010 before it was officially announced. It was just a foregone conclusion. There's going to be a fourth movie with Raimi and Maguire, and there's going to be something in it. We don't really know much, whatever. Um, and then it gets canceled, right? And then you get TASM 1, and people are like, okay, well, I don't really like this much as the Raimi version, but whatever. And then you get TASM 2, and it's terrible, and then that gets canceled. After 3 rather. So maybe I think what happened is that because of the fact that we're seeing stuff we've never really seen before with like actors coming back and playing some character that was from some series that was long dead or not a thing anymore, people are like more open to, like, at the same time as people are more open to certain people coming back and doing more stuff, you also have these other ones who are like, no, they were only allowed to come back for this one thing and then nothing else. You know, like at least with the people who are upset about Keaton coming back as Batman, they're not really mad about him playing Batman again. They don't want him to replace Affleck, which I don't want either. But I mean, if anybody is going to, I'd probably prefer it to be him than, like, I know Bale won't come back because Bale doesn't want to play him anymore because he thinks it'll be disrespectful to Nolan. I'm just saying, I don't remember these people like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, like because I've been on the internet in that time, and I don't remember like, oh, this thing is announced. They shouldn't make this. This is a waste of time. No. It's really sad that we're in that type of era where people just have no imagination and they're always against something. But yeah, it probably is confirmation bias as well. I just think it's really sad that when you like to know almost nothing about something and be against it, I believe is really insane. Like I think there's something wrong with them for like because it's the same group of people. They're always crapping on an idea like that they know almost nothing about, is what it seems like. Just like I was watching, I think I mentioned I watched this one channel and they did a video on Raimi's Spider-Man 4, and they said they were opposed to it, and um how it's so weird because it's like the host is the same one who admits the original trilogy was his favorite and is like, oh no, Bill Nunn, who played a character that's only in like maybe three scenes the whole damn trilogy, oh he died, and you can't use Harry anymore. And I'm like, yeah, these are things like I don't, it's just so weird. Like their reasons for being against are stupid. The argumentation is bad. It's like, God, always just someone against something. That's all they can do is just be opposed to stuff. I think it's really weird. It's like, yeah, almost all the actors are still around and working, so why not? Whatever. Oh yeah, I forgot they always want Spider-Man to be a little kid and to be 20 forever. Can't ever grow up. Keep forgetting that. He's the only superhero that if you see him past 30, you're gonna have a heart attack. It's like, no. It's so weird too, because it's like the same people who are saying McGuire's too old are the same ones that were okay with Molina and Defoe coming back, and they're both like 20 years older than him. So that's why I said people fans are just such a frustrating group of people, like with their double standards. Because they do the same thing with the villains too. Where I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if we get to see Defoe play Green Goblin again. Oh no, um, this No Way Home was the perfect send off to his characters. Like, yeah, whatever. I thought the first Raimi film was the perfect send off to his character, and they still overwrote that. So whatever. But it's like it goes back to that thing of the contradictions. Like you'll be fine with seeing Holland play Peter in 15 goddamn movies, but if you see Defoe play him in a major role in three, you're gonna lose your mind. Like that's weird. Just like Ash Ketchum. Yeah, I mean, Pokemon is kind of like the it has a lot of stuff in common with Marvel and DC. It has retcons because Marvel doesn't have as many as DC, but Pokemon definitely does because there's an episode where it's the one during Battle Frontier where Bulbasaur, Charizard, and Squirtle come back, and Ash specifically says throughout the years, but then it's later said that he's still 10. And then when they go to Viridian City during season one, they say it's been a year since we've been here, but then he's still 10 somehow. So yeah, they do a lot of retcons and refusals to let him grow up. That's why he kept losing the league every damn year for like what, 20 years? I don't know why they can't just like let him be 2, 3, 4 years. Like I don't like what's the big deal about him being an older teenager? If like literally if they aged him up by 1 year after every like 4 or 5 seasons, he still would be a kid. Like it's that's why I say it's so weird. And there are plenty of adults that play Pokemon. Like I don't understand. So I said it's weird. Your confirmation bias. Like I said, DC does piss me off with some of the weird stuff they do. But at least when it comes to most of their characters, they're all right with aging them up. Like even before Batman Beyond, you had the what's that damn comic, the Frank Miller one, the one where it's the older Batman. I'm forgetting the title, but I remember that comic had an older version of the character. It's like it's only Marvel that tries to pretend that 2005 in real life should also be is like 1965. Like it's only been a year or a couple of years, and it's so weird too because um, if you read the original Ditko Lee era, like 30 some issues of Spider-Man, it was actually the reverse of that. Every 12 issues was a year. That's why he graduates from, like, he gets his powers at 15, and then in 3 years he graduates from high school in real life because it's 3 years of publication time as well. So it's so bizarre how they just slowed it down because back then Marvel didn't think they were going to be running this book forever. It's probably the reason. That's why I was always like so weird. And again, maybe it's because I read comics. I was always so weirded out by these adaptations refusing to ever have him in anything beyond high school. Like they're just obsessed with keeping him in high school. Like I was like, what is this weird obsession with this time period? Like it whatever. Do you think Maguire carried No Way Home? No, I think that was mostly like I'm not even a big Holland fan. I thought he did a good job. Him, Defoe, and Molina were probably the best parts of the movie for me. Like I think Maguire shows up a little too late to really make that big of an impact. But I'll be honest and say that if he wasn't in it, along with the because again, like I would have still seen it for Molina and Defoe, but I think if Maguire wasn't in it, it wouldn't have made as much money. You probably could scrape off like several millions off of there. Because let's be straight, No Way Home didn't get almost $2 billion because it's this amazing, well written, wonderfully crafted story, the likes of which the world has never seen. No, it got almost that much because it brought back actors from previous series that were abruptly gotten rid of. So let's just keep that in check. Yeah, don't trick yourself into thinking that they wrote some amazing story and that's why the movie made so much. No, not at all. I think the story of No Way Home gets even goofier the more you think about it. It's like, so they're going to do this spell to reverse everyone's memory of him being Spider-Man, but then they're not going to talk about it before going into there. And it sucks because a lot of the stuff that's wrong with that movie, if they just like paid a little bit more attention, they can find reasons to not have that be an issue. Like if they wanted to have it to where they don't like rehearse what they're going to say to each other, they could just say, hey, we couldn't talk about this in the hallway because Wong was there. Like it's so weird. I'm not even a screenwriter and stuff like that. Just I can figure out ways of making it work. So it's sad that they didn't really put that much thought into their own story. I do know that the two guys that wrote the film said that Green Goblin originally was not going to be the main villain, and I'm wondering because they said they cut some characters out, so I'm wondering who they were going to use before they did that. I honestly thought it was a good movie, in my opinion, but wasted potential. I agree with you. McGuire showing up too late in the movie. Yeah, that's still one of the reasons I have a problem with it. Like, I think it's a good film, but it's not like I truly believe it's probably it's indisputably undeserving of most of the praise it's received. Um, the nicest to be to this movie would be to give it an 8 out of 10, but it's getting like 9s out of 10s, 10s out of 10s, the best Spider-Man film ever made. All kind of crazy accolades that I just don't think it deserves. So I'm not even bothering with that. Yeah, he shows up all the way in the third act. Oh, by the way, um, so when No Way Home came out on digital, I actually went on the Apple Store and got it, and I did a thing where I was trying to because I was making a point about how the villains like disappear for these big chunks of the movie and how weird that is. Let me see. So, for example, when Doc Ock gets like when he disappears after like at the apartment, it's an hour and 13 minutes into the film, and then he doesn't show up again until an hour and 50 minutes into it. So that's about let's see, that's about 37 minutes of him just being gone from the movie. And that's another problem with the film, that it has too many characters to where like the main antagonist and villains of the film just all have like big chunks where they're not even there. Like it takes 30 minutes for Doc Ock to show up in this. And to give you a comparison, in Spider-Man 2, it takes 18 minutes for him to show up. So it's just really sad that they crammed so much in there and they really didn't know what to do. But the fact that they all like vanished from the apartment and then just reappear right at the bridge with no word of what they've been doing, that really does piss me off, because that could have been some good stuff to just see what they're up to. But hey, remember Spider-Man 3 had too many characters apparently. Like I said, man, Raimi did a better job juggling stuff, because I don't like this film really does show you that if you just stick enough people that someone wants to see in it, they can look past any issues or errors. I told you Spider-Man 3 has Peter, Mary Jane, Harry, Jameson, Aunt May, Sandman, Venom, I guess Gwen, her dad. And that's pretty much it. It's got like what, 9 characters? Like No Way Home has the three Spider-Men, Ned, MJ, Doc Ock, Goblin, the other, 3 villains, Sandman, Electro, Lizard. So that's 10 right there. Then you throw in Ned and that and Doctor Strange and Wong. It's like, what are they talking about? But like I said, man, one movie gets marginalized for having too many characters, but then ones with more characters just get away with it. By the way, I remember I watched this one person's like video on Batman Returns. They said that has too many characters, and I almost fell on the floor laughing. It's like, I don't even think that movie has 8 characters that I can name. Like, what are you talking about? No, that was really funny. This movie has too many characters, even though it only has like 7 or 8. Basically, if you do a movie where there's more than one villain, and like maybe more than one protagonist, someone somewhere will say that there's too many characters. So just be mindful of that. It's really weird too, because the only characters that Spider-Man 3 kind of drops the ball on a little bit on are Venom, because he doesn't show up until the last, like, the final act. But even then, like, the stuff setting up Eddie as Venom is pretty decent. Like, he's introduced pretty early on. You see like multiple scenes of him and Peter getting into it. So, even with the least developed villain in the whole series, they still do a fairly decent job of at least setting him up. And then with Aunt May, she's treated horribly in that film. She only has like 4 scenes, and they're all very short. The scene where she gives him the ring, the one at the police station, when he tells her that he's killed Salmon, and then when he, like, right before he goes to save the day. All her scenes are really good, as they always are, but she's still a much more minor character than she was in either of the first 2 films. So that's the biggest issue. Spider-Man 3 had too many characters. Raimi version is so much better, in my opinion. Much better written characters too. Oh yeah, when I watch the Raimi films, I can remember Aunt May before they turned her into a sex joke. and then killed her off in the third film because they didn't want to reference Uncle Ben at all for some reason. Like I said, nobody in any of the MCU Spider-Man films has any character development at all, except from like besides Peter himself, which is still debatable, but whatever. I really wish Sony had given Raimi time to do stuff because I definitely would prefer 4, 5, and 6 over anything that we've gotten since it ended. I still think a second trilogy could be made, but they're just too like they're just against doing stuff that is about the other two. That's not the Holland version. Because a lot of the ideas that Raimi had, I thought were really cool, like Black Cat and Vulture being related. And then he wanted to do Lizard at some point, so that could have been in the fifth or sixth movie. I still remember when I was a kid, people would post posters. They'd be like, "Spider-Man 4 is gonna have Carnage in it." And it's like, according to who? He's gonna be played by Jim Carrey. It's like, yeah, first he played Riddler, now he's Carnage. I don't know. Just I'm just tired of reboots. That's the issue. Just every time they say new continuity, we're starting from scratch. I just start rolling my eyes. Like I know it's been almost 10 years, but I still hold out hope for Man of Steel 2. Like I don't know why everything has just keeps starting over, and you know it's just annoying. Because usually in a superhero series, if they get to the fourth installment, it sucks. Like Superman 4 is hated worldwide. Same thing with Batman and Robin. So Spider-Man 4 could have been the first time that was alleviated, but we didn't get it. Instead, we got a reboot followed by a sequel that was so hated that it canceled six other movies and got another reboot. That's what was really funny. It's like imagine going to see Spider-Man 3 in 2007 and then going to see what was it, Homecoming, and like 10 years later and being like, wow, in 10 years we've had three versions of the same damn character on on film. All these restarts and new beginnings, like Jesus Christ. I remember this one guy said for the for like one of those canceled film series they should make like a cartoon version of it. I was like, that would be pretty cool if you get like the original actors to voice themselves. The problem is the issue with these companies is they don't really seem that interested in doing stuff for things that are over. Like I know that for what was that series for the 90s Spider-Man show? John Semper, that's the guy that wrote almost every episode of that show. He approached, I think it was Marvel, about doing like a 20th anniversary thing for it in 2014, and they kind of just were like, whatever. Like they weren't interested at all. So I don't know. It just seems like Marvel really couldn't care less about honoring any of their past stuff for the most part. I know DC isn't like that because that's why Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill keep getting cast as Batman and Joker because of the popularity of the animated series. So it'll be really cool if they actually did something like that. Like I know that there's the Batman '89 comic which is supposed to be a sequel to Returns. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I wish we get more of that where they just do like a continuation of different canceled film continuities. You know, it'll be nice. Just like I remember one of the ideas that me and this guy had were to do a show between a show that was set between Spider-Man 2 and 3 because a lot of stuff happens in that year that we don't really know about. Like Harry goes from wanting to not attack his best friend to now being fully consumed with vengeance. Like there's some kind of arc there that could easily be explained in a whole TV season or a movie. But it just wasn't given enough time. So there's a lot of stuff that could be done with that universe. But they want to keep restarting and doing reverse versions. Like I'm really sick of reboots. I'm really tired of them. Even as bad as that. Let me see. Oh, that'll be great to see. I'll be down to seeing that. Very intriguing. I mean, I'm just saying that like the stuff with Harry could easily fit on at least a full movie by itself, if not a whole TV season. Like you got to remember when the third movie starts up, he's gone from being at the end, in the last one, someone who doesn't want to hurt his best friend and now being committed to killing him. He has all of his dad's armor, and he's presumably taken some type of lessons on how to learn how to use that stuff. It's like that stuff, and then the like Peter MJ relationship also are two things you could easily develop more if you had like another like something set in between those two things. And if you want to have him fight some villain, you could have him fight I don't know, Craven or somebody else. I know a lot of people like to think of Craven as one of Raimi's preferred villains. Because the period between 1 and 2, nothing really happens. I would say like you need to have explained to you, but for between 2 and 3, there's a lot of stuff going on. Just like we know that if there was a 5 and 6, they would have been set back to back. So that means that 6 would pick up right after 5. If you think about it, that's kind of like a prerequisite for like a precursor to Infinity War and Endgame, where they like pick up right after each other. My favorite thing was people were saying that No Way Home was Spider-Man Endgame, and I was like, how the hell is it Spider-Man Endgame if two of the other Spider-Man don't even show up until the second half of the movie, the back half of the movie? Like, I'm sorry, I can't watch the original trilogy and then TASM 1 and TASM 2 and then the Holland stuff and think this was all like a big planned out of. No, they were, what it was that, and Feige admitted it, they didn't think they could get a better person to play Doc Ock than Alfred Molina. And didn't think they'd get a better person to play Green Goblin than Willem Dafoe. So they said, how do we get them into the MCU? Oh, we'll do this weird multiverse story. I still would have preferred if it was just the two of them, because I don't know anyone that was excited to see Electro again, but whatever. Like even people that like TASM think he was just like whatever, which is why they changed his design and got rid of his hair and like made him like almost completely different character who just has the same powers and is played by the same actor. Damn, that was one of the worst. Like, I don't know who, but that's why I said that. I think what happened was they had a mandate that they had to use somebody from every one of the Sony films, and if they didn't use Electro, then they were going to use Dane DeHaan as Harry, which I probably would have preferred, because I would like to see two goblins together on screen, but whatever. I remember the Goblin War from the comics with Hobgoblin and Harry as the Green Goblin. That was cool. That's I remember we made that joke before that like they were stuck with Sandman because they couldn't use Venom thanks to Sony making the new Venom films and already having Venom in there, and they couldn't use Harry because of the he touched me stuff with James Franco. Even though Harry definitely would have been the best one to use because I mean, if you're gonna do a movie where like a grown up version of that character gets to see his dad again, except now he has powers too. That would have been so cool. My older sibling really likes Electro, particularly because he's black, from what I've heard. A lot of other people have the same reasoning for liking Electro. Yay, look at our amazing black villain. We took a white person and made them black for our adaptation, and now they're liked by other people. Woohoo. To hell with that, man. I told you he literally is the electric version of Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin. They both make puns on their powers. They're both blue. They're like supposed to have sympathetic backstories. I don't like him at all. But again, Tasm doesn't really have any villains that I think are that good. Like Lizard was just kind of okay, but he had like a weird plot of turn the whole city, and it was goofy. Like that's stupid to me. Um, then you have Electro, which we've already been over. I think he's even worse. And then Harry, who's like the most rushed, and he really is like the Venom of TASM 2, where he's like this extremely rushed villain. And it sucks because if we're talking about Harry, why would you do him again? But in a way that doesn't even make any sense. Like with the Raimi films, you had 3 movies of build up to that story. And with TASM 2, they're like, here's Peter's best friend that he conveniently never mentioned in the last movie. And now he's a villain because Spider-Man wouldn't give him his blood. Like it was terrible. I know Arnold Megumi. He was my governor. I'm just saying if you watch Batman and Robin again and you see Mr. Freeze and then you watch TASM 2 and see Electro, it's the same performance. They're both blue and like bald. They're both making like weird puns with their powers. Cool party. I'm gonna blow the candles out of my birthday cake. Just like it's bad. And again, I'll admit Electro was better in No Way Home, but he still is just like whatever to me. Like, is the best you guys can do? Seriously? Not good at all, man. You can have him. He's one of the he's not one of the worst comic book movie villains, but he definitely you won't be seeing anyone say that he's great or they're excited for like I remember on what's that website on stupid Twitter they were talking about how there's a rumor he's going to get a spin-off show with his daughter and I'm just like for once I really wouldn't mind if that doesn't get made. You won't see any tears coming from me. Oh my god. God, I don't even know what's wrong with people. They're so weird to me. Oh, by the way, on Wikipedia, someone tried to make a page for Electro and it got deleted. How did you find the ending, by the way? What No Way Home's ending? I mean, I was from like initially the rumors I heard was that they were gonna kill off all the villains. Um, so I was glad they didn't because I thought most of them already died before anyway, so doing it a second time would be redundant. But also, I thought maybe this means that they might come back. So, Fingers crossed for that. The whole thing of him erasing everyone's memory, including people that he knows, I thought was really kind of like a Deus Ex Machina. I don't know. It's just like I don't get where if you're doing a trilogy, why you would erase everything that happened at the end of it. Like, oh, all these events no longer occurred, except they technically did. Everyone else just can't remember them because Aunt May is still dead. Stuff like that is just weird to me. Yeah, it's just kind of a Deus Ex Machina. Like, okay, all this stuff that we just experienced for multiple movies, oh, it no longer matters. Everything's been erased. Like, oh, then what was the point? I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Like, just if I watch Homecoming and then Far From Home and then No Way Home, it's like this is what you intended from the start. You always planned on doing 3 movies where at the end of the 3rd one, you would kill off a character you barely developed and reset everything. Like, what? I still think it's kind of funny. During the stream from was that last Saturday? I was talking about how War Machine is like so underdeveloped in the MCU, and it's like this is a character that's literally been in like what 5, 6, 7 movies, and they don't ever do anything with him. And in retrospect, Terrence Howard walking out on that role kind of makes a lot of sense. Like he's really not missing anything. Which sucks because I think War Machine's an interesting character, but he's getting the same treatment that Storm got in the X Men movies, where good character, badly adapted, like given almost nothing to do. It left me wanting to see more. There's got to be a continuation towards it. I can say the same for a new Matrix movie. I don't think we're getting the Matrix 5. The way they were talking about the fourth one underperforming and whatnot, I don't think you'll be seeing another Matrix for a long time. I'm still pissed off that they recast Lawrence Fishburne. Like, why would you have an actor who wants to come back, who wants to play their character again? You're doing a sequel to a trilogy of movies that they were in, and you're not even going to bother trying to get him back. That is so insane. Like they asked him, "Why are you not in the new Matrix?" He's like, "I don't know." I thought that was I haven't even seen that movie, and I just think that is insane. That's really goofy to me, but whatever. I think if you get a sequel to Matrix 4, it's probably gonna be a comic book, just from the way they were talking about it and saying it was underperforming. I don't know if you'll be getting the fifth movie. Like I said, I'm always fine with fourth or like continuing stuff because I get tired of trilogies. But I'm really doubtful you'll be seeing another one of those at least anytime soon. If they try another one, it might be like an anniversary film. Like it's been 40 years since the first one came out, and then you got like old man Keanu. But other than that, I don't think so. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or tell you it's not possible, but I don't know. It just seems like with certain stuff, it takes a long time before you even hear anything about it. Like we're still trying to figure out if we're getting another Ghostbusters. That movie made like 200 million on a 75 million budget, and we still don't know if it's going to get another one. So Is it like unless a movie makes like hundreds of billions of dollars, there's always the possibility you won't get another one. Too many characters missing from the original cast. Lawrence was a huge blow to the movie. I couldn't believe it. Like I just like I've only seen the first Matrix. I just really like him as an actor, and he clearly wanted to come back. So you get where it's like, why would you not have him return? That is insane. Like you have to be really crazy to make a decision like what's wrong with you? Seriously, like what possesses someone to go, well, we have this actor who, we could technically have in this movie, but nah. Like that's weird. I think they really hurt themselves not using him again. That doesn't make any like I don't know how anyone would look at his level of popularity because he's a well-known actor, his importance to that series from its inception, and then just like toss him aside. That was crazy. Oh, a huge blow to the movie. I've never really seen anything like that before where an actor wants to come back and then you just sideline them for this. Like they were talking about, oh, it's a recast. Like, no, there is only one of him, and it's I don't get that. I'm gonna look that up later. I never did look into the reasoning. I'm telling you, man, I saw the article where they asked him, why are you not a new Matrix? He said, I don't know. They didn't ask him to come back. They wanted to have a new person play his character. This is a recasted Morpheus. No, there's only one. Sorry, guys, but this isn't like Marvel and DC where you can have 30 people play Batman. No, there's when you have a series of like several movies where it's one person playing a character over and over, and that person is still alive and still wants to do it. Why the hell would you recast them? I just think that was so dumb. But then again, I never thought we would get another Matrix because of like the ending of the third one. Like I was like, where do you even go from there? But whatever. The new Morpheus tarnished the character. Holy cow, that was a lame decision. I tell you, when people get used to one person playing a character and then you throw somebody else in their face and they're like, accept this, it doesn't work. Yeah, Lawrence was perfect. I don't know what's wrong with them. That's what I said. The more I hear about that movie, the more convinced I am that someone was like, this needs to be sabotaged. We need to make every bad decision possible to like blow this up. Like, I don't even know what human being of basic intelligence would say, here's this character that's played by this really, really well-liked, respected actor. Let's toss it out the window and get somebody else. I haven't seen Jem in so long. He went over to Ukraine to help them out and be such a patriot and give them a place to stay. No, that was bad. Like I don't know who thought that was a good idea. But anyways, back to Matrix 5. I don't think you're gonna get it for a long time, if at all, because that film underperformed. What's some of that movie Reloaded? Let me look it up. Oh no, that's the second one. Okay. Resurrections. I hate that title. I'm sorry. LOL, I've been busy. It's fine. There's no statute of limitations on how often you have to come to a stream. Let me go to the part about the sequel. Following the film's release, producer James whatever this person told Collider that there were no plans for further Matrix films, though he believed the film's open ending meant that this could change in the future. I think the film also works where it's really open to audience interpretation, like what happened in those 60 years before they fished Neo out again, or Thomas Anderson and Neo, when Neo and Trinity are there at the end and they're talking with the analyst. What do they actually mean they're going to change? So I think that it's out there, but it's not in our wheelhouse at the moment. So Megumi, if you heard what I just read, he's saying that the ending of the fourth one has like an open conclusion. Like this could be something they put into further films, but they have no plans to do a fifth one at the time. Does that sound like something a successful? Like, remember, before No Way Home even came out, they were saying they were making a sequel to it. Before the Batman came out, they were announcing a sequel. Yeah, what was that, like 17 years? The hell? James said, "Yeah, the four Matrix was Matrix 4 was not good at all." You're only saying that because they wouldn't agree to give you a cameo in it. That's the only reason that James doesn't like the movie, because his mother couldn't bribe them into giving him a role in the movie, because she's the CEO of this company. I'm not going to say which one. That's the only reason he doesn't like the film. He didn't get his cameo. What the hell is wrong with these people? I just think it's so weird. Like, why do a fourth one? Because you know, like they do another one to make money, but then like it sucks, and then you're like, okay, well, no more after this. I just think that's weird. Like, what was the point? They waited too long. Yeah, I was like, can you guys please make this thing already? I didn't think we were going to get a fourth one ever. That's shocked me. Because again, when a series doesn't have a new movie for a long time, people just kind of accept, all right, there's no more. That happened with Indiana Jones, where it was just a trilogy for like what 20 years, and they made another one, and now they're making another one. If you don't make something for a long time, people just kind of accept, all right, it's over. That's it. It is what it is. They lost steam. It was shocking indeed. Couldn't believe when I first saw the trailer for it. Yeah, it was done. It was a concluded story. But all the stuff I've heard about the fourth one is it spells doom for a fifth one. I don't think you're gonna get one ever, probably. Unless the only way I could see them continuing that story is if it's a video game or like a comic. Like, I don't think they're gonna try to do another movie because that thing underperformed. Yeah, it had a pretty conclusive ending. That's why I was surprised. Like, how the hell does this work? What? Jim, nobody I know likes the fourth one. Like, every single reviewer I watched says it was bad. This one reviewer said, because it's on HBO. I think it was on HBO Max for like a while. They're like, I guess you could watch it if you have nothing else to watch. If every single other program sucks. I thought Matrix 4 was an okay movie. Just a lot of unanswered questions and missed potential for sure. I'm just like, what is this? Like, what? You're gonna make another one, and then take one of the main cast members from the whole original trilogy and just like shelve him, even though he wants to come back and play his character again. You're gonna be like, whatever, forget him, and then you're gonna also have someone else play the character, but then they're not the same person, but have the same name. It's like, what is this? Damn, that movie was like, I don't even all everything I hear about just has me saying, what the hell? They boxed him. No, I think they probably would have been better off if they had just if they had tried to make a fourth one only maybe 5 years after the third one came out. I think people would be a lot more open to it because when you just have something that's just left alone for so long and you come back, you know, that's kind of stuff that tends to happen. They boxed him. As much as I hate how Lawrence wasn't in it, I still try giving it the benefit of the doubt. It's not worth watching twice. I'll put it like that. Well, I don't think him not being in it should be the reason to just say to hell with this. There's no way it could be good, but I think it does play a significant factor. You know, it's like if you're watching these movies in succession, first one, second, third, fourth, and then you notice, oh, one of the main three stars is no longer here. Did he die? No, they just didn't ask him to come back, and instead they have another person playing his character. They're like, what the hell? So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Where like it doesn't stop the fourth one from having any chance of being good, but it does cause it to be significantly less appealing because one of the main attractions were the protagonist, and if you get rid of one of them just for the hell of it, seemingly, it's not going to work. Am I able to stream on other platforms like Tag or Meet Me? No, I don't even. I've never. I don't think I've heard of Tag before. I'd have to go and look. Wait, was somebody just posted a picture in the chat? So James said the fourth Matrix is bad, but then now I'm seeing a picture. I'm seeing a video, surveillance footage of him watching the fourth one on Blu-ray last night. So I don't know how good his opinion is if we are able to find stuff like that about him. James, if the fourth Matrix was so bad, why were you caught caught on camera watching it on Blu-ray the previous night? I'd love an explanation. Like I said, the real reason you don't like that movie is because you couldn't they didn't agree to let you have a cameo in it. They didn't let you have your two scenes. No, that every reviewer I've seen has said that movie is not good. Like, and it's weird too because usually with something where it gets mixed reviews, but this seems like it's just getting overwhelmingly negative. Like, I haven't seen one person I watched for reviews say it was good. I've heard okay. I've heard garbage. Like, it just seems like there's no one who's ever like, oh, this was pretty decent. This is a good revival of this classic series. No, it's all bad, 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 bad. So I guess that's just the thing now where like all the reviewers get together and they're like, we decree this is not good. Yeah, you've been exposed. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here because we're getting kind of hungry. I will be streaming again on obviously on Saturday, but maybe on Thursday we'll see. So have a good rest of your day and hope you enjoyed the stream.